Mary Ford lay naked in the sun, her exhaust barely smoking little puffs of blue smoke. Streaks of rust jotted her blue tin skin. Now and then the beaten chrome would reflect the hot sun. The natural order of time and energy were wearing her bearings. Even now she was running only on 7 instead of the natural 8. Streets and stop signs were old places. Time had demobilized Mary 52 Ford into a lump of junk. 1,000 pieces of rusted bolts stuck to rusted pieces of tin. A hulk of headlining lay next to his seat, turned naked by the sun. Mary's greasy heart was sprawled between her thin, oily frame. Now and then a trickle of oil would form a pool under her tin skirt. All mechanical activity had stopped functioning. Time had laid Mary.
At last, I'm free. All my life I've wanted to be free. Here I am, lying in 1,000 cells. Now I can go as I please. My reincarnation shall create beautiful children.
The good-go godfather had fulfilled Mary's desire. Time had not waylaid Mary after all. Among Mary's children, one exceptional child reflected the exact soul of old Mary. The old radiator, which had cooled Mary many times, had turned into a grotesque truck. Mary named him George Go after his Grandma Go. George Go was the strapping image of his grandmother, who was thin and rusty, while George was husky. Physically and mentally, he didn't resemble his relatives. George Go was an exceptional child. Many times, he would go into tantrums and shit on the floor. No one could determine his exact moods. Some people said he was exceptional and resembled a huge toy truck. A golf bag was joined to Mary's old radiator, and George, born from a wooden cable spool, evolved into a known object. Similarly, his grandma evolved from a bicycle. George's birth was not accidental. He was intentionally and methodically thought about by his mother. His being came about in a second of a minute. Without study or detailed calculation, George was the perfect, spontaneous child of a geometrical purity of visual interpretation. George was an idea of an automobile. He was a caricature, boasting himself as a ghost of an automobile, parading himself through the found shapes of objects, every object being a direct mechanical expression. Extraneous detail and decorum were excluded from his appearance. Poised as a dummy, he stood against nature as a rock stands beside a tree. Dumb. Grandma had never known George. She died before he was born. Dorothy Dresser's brown legs glistened in the sun. Pink and red roses decorated her mirrored hair. She had the majesty of an outdoor toilet and the fat warmth of a Mexican woman cooking tortillas over a stove named Rosa. She wore the enameled beauty of a housing tract home kitchen. Comfortable and lazy, Dorothy sat in the sun, waiting to solicit the strange men passing by. Long ago about Dorothy's peculiarities. As a child, Dorothy had become intensely neurotic about sinks, watching sink drains many countless hours, thinking and dreaming.
My life is too slow. I want to wash the crumbs and love all the waste that flows, like my friends at the sink. I want to be like they are, enameled, brave, admitting all filth and scrupulous alike. But woe to the dirty motherfuckers that cross my path.
In exact description, she was a trollop. The perfect female, vain with marvelous physical comforts, embracing everyone who looked at her. The very filth pouring through her body, sifting, churning on its downward voyage to the great drain between her legs. Dorothy was the strange woman who adorns herself and suddenly becomes a ghost of an apparition. The shadows caressed Dorothy's dark, brown, varnished legs. Her tiny white porcelain casters struck the hard pavement. She was going home. Not far from the Safeway store, a woman was scurrying home. Dorothy's keen eyes became fastened on her. Then she broke into a frenzied laughter.
Why, it's the old domestic bitch. Who else? Carol Chair. My dear lost cousin Carol. Carol, hey, don't you know me?
Why, it's Dorothy Dresser. Well, how have you been, Dorothy? Gee, I haven't seen you in ages. Are you married yet? Have you seen Steve Stowe?
Everything's okay. How you doing, sweetie? Still married, huh? Boy, don't you look house beautiful. Still got those dishes and saucers stuck on your ass. I've always dug that polka dot red dress. Is that the only dress you got? Sweetie, why don't you let me give you one of mine? Wow, you're beginning to look like the feminine gender version of a men's urinal bowl. Baby, how can you expect your hubby to dig you? You gotta look foxy, sweetie.
Oh, Dorothy, you'll never change. I'm really happily married. Bill loves me very much, and since I saw you last, I've gotten pregnant. I just can't see how you can carry on like that, Dorothy. I'm really not concerned with artificialities, nor do I need the elaborate wasted surface you have. My surface is plain and natural. I've been fond of clay, darling, and I want nothing with cheap plastic decoration. I'm me, and that's all I need. Sure, I have dishes stuck on my ass, as you put it, but they function as part of my design. In front, a plain polka dot dress. In back, a checkered tablecloth. Both extremes reflect my exact house beautiful personality. I really began as a toilet shape, but circumstances propped me into a chair and I became dignified. Not of your kind, but of the kind that reflects tranquility.
Don't pop your warts, sweetie. Man, you're sure fucked up. I never did understand you, but do whatever you like. I'll say one thing, you'd stop a train with that line and face of yours.
Oh.
Too bad you're just an old dude wife. Me? I'm me, I guess. I do what I please, have fun every day, play all the time, like to look sharp. Just dig sinks. Everybody's almost the same, sweetie. You'd like to screw everybody, but you gotta eat, so you stay with your hubby. Me? I like to eat too, so I gotta screw. You gotta excuse my way of talking. My words always get in your hair, Carol Chair. But you know, anytime you need something, I'd be glad to let you have it. Baby, we're the same.
The long grass was smelling, filling the night with a green scent. Yellow lights spreckled in the warm dark, and houseflies slept in corners. Lazy dogs paraded down the streets, while Carol Chair gently trotted along, her wooden heels clicking and paper bag shaking.
Oh, I guess Dorothy will never change. I can't help but envy and hate her. No wonder George can't stand her. They seem to be direct opposites, yet they're very much the same in design. Both complement the rectangle and square. Still, Dorothy has decorated surface on an empty box. George is complex. He and Grandma were very much alike. Both just go objects.
Carol's wooden round heels gently sank on the lawn of her home. The front kitchen light was on, and through the window, a dark form could be seen. Carol thought it might be Bill early from work, but after a second glance, she could see a visible dwarfish-looking man with a huge hat. Carol's keys quickly rattled open the front door. Quickly, she rushed into the kitchen and confronted...
Oh, no! Steve Stove! What in hell are you doing in here? Are you smoking that filthy dope in my clean kitchen? You know what Bill thinks about those things. I don't mind you eating, but that marijuana smoking has got to go. How did you get in anyway?
Fee deepa fee, fee the deepo. Dopa smoker, Steve Stova. Burn a quickie in the pot. Dopa hot fire, Carol. We goofa for you, Dopa. No dive, Dopa. No hopa without Dopa. Fee deepa foe from bomb again.
How does one communicate with someone like that? How can anyone be so non-verbal? You'd better clean your mess, Steve, before Bill comes home. Oh, I'll never understand you completely. I just know Bill wouldn't like you smoking your dope here. You're in another world, Steve. One that's completely mute. Why can't you make sense, logically verbal? Could you be so intense that you can't make sense? Basically, I believe you're an aesthetic. Perhaps your hollow body was once filled with beautiful aesthetic ideas, but the fiery kiln burned you hollow, leaving an empty, grotesque shell. Among our family, Steve, you are the queerest, and it's not you I fear or your dope, but my husband. I'm playing my role as a housewife, and you, Steve Stove, are also playing your role. We're the same, only you're the waster, burning on, dancing on. Clumsy, mute dwarf, asleep in your crib. Let me speak for you, fool. I'm the chair and you're a stove. We belong together, furniturely.
Blab, blab, that's all loose, blob, blob, bricks blabbing on. Burning on, machina on, go. Go on, turn on. Smoke a dopa. Still hopa with dopa, Carol. We're dopas. No one blame, 'cause you're lame. Me not come on quickie with Mary Weenie. Me no go. Me burn on. All same, lame Carol.
Oh, I'll make some sandwiches for you, Steve. You can eat them in the park. Tonight's a warm, beautiful night. I know we're the same, Steve. Only you're high, and I'm not. Dance on, my darling. Dance on. Dance on.
Steve walked aimlessly, his mute mind without worry. All was there to be discovered. Each detail was a world of its own. Nothing had an identity, and everything was called by one name. Steve's mind trickled happily down through his hollow body, sightless, aimless, deaf, mute, dumb, and doped. Steve's mind was a silent crib, asleep to the world, void of its eternal surface. Completely oblivious of fear, his mute mind hung in shreds while a visible soul peered through mangled vocal shredded chords. Steve was high.
Boo to you too. You would, if you could. Now you're screwed 'cause you're glued.
Steve sat his empty mind on an empty bench, joining the musical empty park silence. The night grew old, and the early morning breeze appeared in the trees. It was 3 a.m. Steve sat eating a tuna sandwich. Through the trees, a faint glimmer of light shone on Steve's hat. Two intense, hollow eyes became attached to Steve's mute self. Steve was speechless.
We are the eyes of the great wild bird coming to greet you. Do not be afraid, Steve Stove. We will not hurt you. It was the will of the greater Go-Father that we visit you. We know of your queer relationships with the Go family and of your sister Carol Chair, who is common compared to you. How long have you been an idiot? Did anyone teach you? Your great brother George Go interested us for a time, Steve, but he has since become too exceptional for his own good. Dorothy Dresser and Carol Chair are also too plain and finished for their own good. And Mary Ford, your mother, gave up her body and mind before we could reach her. She was beautiful. You are our last hope, Steve Stove.
Steve's empty mind thought about the strange wild bird's hollow words. Steve wondered if he should roll up another joint or eat another tuna sandwich. Steve's feeble mind slowly dribbled in his hollow body.
Wee, said the pig. We're here. The wild birds and trees and chickens standing in a breeze. How long do you expect me to keep this up? Don't ask about no me. It's we that counts. It's the pigs that bounce. Don't ask about we.
Come again? I don't understand this business about the me. Is it the we you're asking about, or the we about you? The great Father Go cannot waste time. I'm afraid we'll have to communicate. You must identify yourself. We are the eyes of the great wild bird, born from a 52 Ford hood, and are the intellectual messengers of the good Go-Father.
You and me and we and me are pigs, bird. Pigs we and chickens we, and we too. And we're the same, bird. I'm not going, 'cause I'm on. So go on.
All you objects are the same. You try to identify as real things, but in reality you are artificial ghosts. I am the true ghost who does not reflect a character. Messenger of all that intellectually is visual. Like the butterfly who flies to the flower, I float with winged, silent, true beauty, a soul asleep. That's why I've come to you. You're asleep like me. Only you're in a crib, stupid, mute fool. You exist as an artificial stove. We are not the same, Steve Stove.
We and you are me. Carol's a barrel, George is a wheel, Dorothy's the drain, and I'm the dope that burns on hope, asleep in a crib, a soul afloat, together, never, for always and ever.
Goodbye, Steve.
The empty park bench glistened with dew in the early morning. Autumn trees shook birds from their hair. Pigeon shit decorated green lawns. Today was Wednesday morning, and the world of workers would soon be in the streets. Steve Stove walked, blood red-eyed, down the street, mute, deaf, dumb, and daring.
Where can I go where wild birds won't bother me? Why do they ask about me? They know we're the same. Boo to you, too.
Across the city, east of the park,
Boy, am I lucky. I can shit anywhere I want to. Mother always said I was exceptional.
How could he go on like that? Grandma would turn in her grave if she knew. I wish Bill would hurry home.
I'm glad I got rid of them roses. Damn people kept picking them. Should have given them to Carol Chair.
everywhere the heat spread, leaving a thin film of fire. Everywhere people jumping, everywhere people living. It didn't make much sense to Mary. She was perfectly happy lying in the hot heat in 1,000 pieces.
Oh, how beautiful. Here and there on a hot fender. Now and then a tire by the roadside. Grandma would be happy. At last, I'm free. Now I am going as I please. Soon we shall be one again.
The sun rose to a boil, burning on the backs of everyone. In another part of town, where the afternoon sun was grinding away, a young Chinese student, Jesse Wong, labored building a trailer, and a Negro janitor swept the yard of the gleaming white concrete building.
Jesse? What are you doing, Jesse? It's damn hot here, Bill. Put your broom away. Can't yet, Jesse. Haven't finished sweeping yet. Your wife Carol is probably waiting for you. Put your broom away. I'll sweep up myself. You sure? All right, Jesse. Just clean up your goddamn mess. It's no mess. It's Mary. My trailer's a sweet chariot coming for to carry them home. My trailer's a sweet chariot coming for to carry them home. Soon the Grove family will be together again. Turning on, swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry them home, Chinese style. You're crazy, Jesse. No, we're not. We're the same, Bill Chair.